Hello, everyone. Today we are taking a deep dive into this New York Times story. Microsoft's CEO intervened when OpenAI fired Sam Altman, Musk's lawyer claims. We are going to break down exactly what happened here and what the real risks are that every investor should know about. But before that, you are watching Decode Daily News, where we take the biggest business and finance stories and decode them so anyone can understand. If you are not subscribed yet, hit that button right now. So let us get into it. Elon Musk's lawyer argued that Microsoft's Satya Nadella played a role in getting Mr. Altman his job back at OpenAI, and here is what that really tells you. This is not about a passive investor watching from the sidelines. The CEO of the biggest financial backer of OpenAI allegedly stepped in to influence who runs the company. That is not writing a check. That is pulling strings. And that is only half the story. When he was briefly fired in 2023, now sit with that for a second. 5 days. Sam Altman was out for 5 days, and in those 5 days texts were flying, calls were being made, and board candidates were being discussed. That recovery does not happen without real leverage. Now this next part is what really caught my attention. A year later, Microsoft invested $1 billion in OpenAI's new for-profit venture. And that is not a small thing. $1 billion. 1 year after that first conversation. That is an extraordinarily fast turnaround for a deal that size. It tells you Nadella saw something he really wanted. That single investment is the seed of everything. The valuation, the products, the lawsuit, all of it traces back to this one moment. But that was just the beginning. He claims that after OpenAI took the money, pause right there. This is where the whole mission argument starts. Because once that first check cleared, the dynamic changed. OpenAI was no longer just a research lab with ideals. It was now accountable to an investor with expectations. And then came the number that changed everything. And an additional $12 billion from Microsoft over the next few years. Now let that sink in. $12 billion on top of the first billion. At that level, it stops being a partnership and starts being dependency. Roadmap, hiring, product decisions, everything bends toward keeping that relationship alive. And that brings us to the claim at the center of this whole case. It betrayed its founding mission to be a non-profit dedicated to the creation of AI that is safe for the world. And think about what that actually means. Safe for the world. That phrase was baked into the founding documents. And Musk's argument is that accepting $13 billion from a single for-profit corporation is fundamentally incompatible with those 4 words. And this is where the real story is. Mr. Nadella called the OpenAI board's decision to remove Mr. Altman amateur hour, as far as I'm concerned. That one line changes everything. The CEO of Microsoft, whose company has $13 billion tied up in OpenAI, sent a text calling the board's governance decision amateur hour. That text is now evidence in a federal courtroom. Nadella was not a neutral investor. He had a side, and he was not shy about it. And then this came up in court when Mr. Altman asked Mr. Nadella if he would approve of a new board of directors that included former Treasury Secretary Lawrence H. Summers. Mr. Nadella responded with a text saying, "Here is the part that hits different. Altman is asking his investor to approve his new board, not inform, not update. Approve." That single word tells you everything about who held the real leverage in that relationship. And then came the response that says it all. Let me call Larry first. Now sit with that. The investor calls the board candidate before the company does. That is the moment Musk's lawyers want that 9-person jury to sit with. Because it does not look like passive investing. It looks like Nadella was deciding who was acceptable and who was not. Now this is the part I could not move past. Before leaving OpenAI, Mr. Musk repeatedly tried to transform the AI lab into a for-profit company. And that is not a small thing. This is the reversal that flips the entire moral framing of the lawsuit. Musk is suing because OpenAI went for profit. But evidence surfacing in this trial shows he tried to do the exact same thing while he was still inside the company. He wanted to fold it into Tesla. He wanted majority control of a commercial spin-off. So the principle he is defending in court, he did not actually believe in it either. And the court heard exactly that. This is like the cheating husband complaining about the cheating wife, Mr. Chander said. And here is what that really tells you. That quote from a Georgetown law professor might be the most important line in this entire article. Once that jury hears it, they cannot unhear it. It reframes the whole case in one sentence. And he did not stop there. It is awkward complaining about something that you too want to do. And that part is worth sitting with. If OpenAI's lawyers can make the jury feel that awkwardness, really feel it, then the damages conversation becomes very complicated for Musk's side. Because intent matters enormously in cases like this, that is exactly where my take comes in. But real quick before I give you my take, this video is for educational purposes only, not financial advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions. So, here is what I actually think is going on beneath all of this. This trial is not really about nonprofit law or AI safety. It is about who gets to control one of the most consequential technology companies ever built, and who got left out. And that question has real implications for investors right now. Microsoft has $13 billion and its entire AI product strategy tied to OpenAI. If this trial creates genuine instability, a forced restructuring, a leadership change, a court-ordered unwinding, Microsoft shareholders feel that directly. This is not just a tech story. It is a balance sheet risk hiding behind a courtroom drama. And here's the thing I keep coming back to. The judge, not the jury, decides on damages and remedies. Legal experts are already skeptical that a federal judge will surgically dismantle a corporate structure. So even if Musk wins on liability, the actual outcome may be far smaller than $150 billion suggests. The headline number is not the real number. Watch this trial. Not for the drama, for the precedent. Because whatever comes out of that Oakland courtroom is going to shape how AI companies raise money, structure their boards, and manage investor relationships for years to come. If this breakdown was useful, hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss one of these. And here is my question for the comments. Do you think this case is genuinely about protecting AI safety, or is it just a business dispute dressed up in noble language? Drop your honest take below.